So I'm Javier Sastre. I'm analytics principal at Accenture The Dock. I'm a PhD in natural language processing. I have been working in applied research for the past 21 years, and at Accenture The Dock, I lead the development of rapid prototypes with a focus on generative AI. Just to give a little bit of context, Accenture The Dock is The Dock is Accenture's flagship research and development innovation center in Dublin, where we explore emerging technologies looking for potential applications to real human and industry problems. And what I'm going to present today is a couple of many of the different solutions that we have created so far. Okay, I will start first with an application of generative AI to streamline the process of writing good quality user stories while being able to write them fast. And then there is a second use case about a tool for detecting generated contents, like whether an image has been produced using a generative AI model or using another technique, like maybe it's handwritten, maybe it's using a photograph, etc. Okay, so let's start with Storic, this user story generator. Okay, so this problem started with a client that had this issue on how to manage to get all your team to follow a particular template when writing the user stories, to make sure that all the user stories have all the different sections and information that are relevant in order to properly understand the user stories, because it's not unusual that when the same developer that is going to execute the task is the one that is writing the user story in the JIRA board, they may only write a title and there would be even not a single description. But that makes things difficult later for the project managers to try to understand what is the status of the project and what are different tasks about. Okay, but at the same time, they didn't want to force everybody to spend a long time writing the user stories. So the idea was, would it be possible to use generative AI to streamline this process, okay, to make it quick, but at the same time, to make sure that all the information is there and that everybody is following a particular template. We started with a quick prototype in 2 weeks. We already had something that we could present to the client, something quick and dirty, just to see if there would be a chance of making GenAI work for this particular use case. And well, I will show you the actual tool here. I had here a video prepared just in case I had problem with the internet, but it's the real tool, okay? So we start with this project manager or tech lead responsible for the JIRA boards creating the templates, and this is how the templates look like. Since typically in these JIRA boards we use Markdown code, here is where we can type our Markdown with symbols in order to do the formatting of the documents. Like for instance, if I add here 2 stars, you see here to the right that now this is in bold letters. Well, we can just focus on the left side of the screen. So here, the tech lead or project manager is deciding that a user story has to have a title that is concise. It has to have a description with this typical wording as a type of user. I want a goal or desired outcome, so that there is going to be this benefit of reason for the change. We also have acceptance criteria. This is quite common in informal user stories. How do we decide the task has been completed or not? So all these conditions need to happen. Technical notes, labels. Even we could ask the generative AI, if it makes sense, could you also provide some example code to get the user story, the execution of the task started as quick as possible? Okay, so because typically you have different kind of user stories, we are letting here the project manager to create as many templates as they require, and depending on the type of user story, there will be different requirements for these user stories. Also, you can add to the tool project convention documents or wiki pages. This is whatever context information that would be relevant in order to write the user stories, like what are the typical acronyms that we use in the project, like in here, or if there are some particular guidelines, any context information that is important. that when there is a new person that is getting onboarded to the project, you will need to update them in this particular thing so that they understand what is going on. So obviously, we need to provide this information as well to the GenAI so that they can understand the user stories that already exist and be able to build on top of that. Okay. This section about epics is simply a way of grouping the user stories by a common high-level goal. So, for instance, every user story that is related to the betting system or the advertising system, we can create here as many categories as we want. And later, we can tag the user story by epic for later being able to quickly filter out user stories by epic or also by title, etc. Okay, so let's go back. And after this brief introduction, let's create a user story, right? So in this page, we are to select the template that we want to use. If there are any project convention documents that are relevant to this user story that we are going to write. And we can also provide the GenAI with other previous user stories that are relevant to the new one. Like, for instance, if the new user story is a continuation of a previous one, you want the GenAI to know what was the previous user story about, so it can build on top of that. Okay? And now here is where we would be writing our informal notes on what is this user story about. So imagine I just had a meeting with my client. We discussed about what is going to be the next feature to build, and these are the quick and dirty notes that I had time to take during the meeting. I can copy-paste this straight away in here, click on the Generate button, and now all the data is being sent to a generative AI model. In particular, in this demo, we are using O3 Mini. And here this was not a video, this was not hard-coded. This was just sent to a model that we have deployed in Azure, and it returned this result. So you can see that it has a title, it has the description as we instructed in the template as a sports bettor. I want a personalized insight dashboard that leverages AI to analyze my betting behavior, etc., with the acceptance criteria, technical notes, labels, etc. Now, you have to take into account that when we are asking GenAI to produce something, and also, if we are not giving the GenAI every single piece of information, it's going to fill in the gaps, and that has both pros and cons. Okay, pros, that even if your description was not complete, it's going to fill in the gaps. So it's saving time, it's creating a first draft on top of which you could build. So you don't have to write everything from scratch. But obviously, if it's coming up with information that was not provided, you need to verify that that information is correct, that is aligned with what you actually want to do in this user story. So yes, you are supposed to review it, but at least you already start from a first draft of the user story, allowing you to get faster to achieve the final user story that you want to write. And now you have the choice of either manually review this and do manual modifications. Okay, this can be edited, or it can be like if you had a person and you're asking this person to do this for you. For instance, in this box, we are going to say add a table with example data to illustrate this feature. Now we click on the modify story. And again, all the information that we have provided to the tool so far is injected again, plus the request for the modification. So the tool knows all the sequence of the different versions of this user story that we have created so far, the latest modification that we have requested, and then it's giving you slightly different version that this time has this table included. And this process can be repeated as many times as we want. Just for the sake of doing a funny test, imagine now I say, add cheerful emojis everywhere. Okay? So we keep the user story so far with the table with example data, and on top of that, it's going to add the emojis. Okay, now we have also cheerful emojis. Here in this box, we can see the sequence of modifications that we have requested so far. So Maybe I went too far adding cheerful emojis. I don't want to keep that. I will click on the undo button. You can click on the undo button as many times as you want to navigate through the history of modifications or go forward. And from any point in this history of modifications, you can continue working. So this means that it's not an all or nothing, okay? You ask something to the GenAI, and if you don't like it, you don't need to start again from the beginning, and maybe you are lucky and you get this time the user story that you want or not, but you can work with the GenAI iteratively to say, okay, this is more or less good so far, but still, can you change this, can you change that, until you get the user story that you want. Okay, so that's all regarding the creation of user stories. After some time working with our client, they were also interested in, now that this tool has a database with our user stories and project wiki pages, would it be possible to have some sort of virtual assistant that is powered by GenAI so we can make arbitrary questions about what is in this database, and this is what we built. Okay. So it's not just a simple question-answer system, okay? It's a GenAI-powered virtual assistant that has been provided access to the database of user stories and the database of project convention documents. And it will decide how many times is necessary to access to the database and which queries are to be used in order to locate the information that is necessary depending on what we are asking for. Like, for instance, find the user stories, mentioning the use of AI models, and tell me which ones follow the AI optimization guidelines. Okay, let's send this. So it's going to take a few seconds. But in order to solve this question first, it needs to figure out which user stories use AI models, okay? And from it will also need to look in these project convention documents about what are these AI optimization guidelines, and then it's going to be cross-referencing, okay, the different pieces of information in order to provide a final response. Okay, and okay, this is the demo so far. Let's go back to the presentation. So we conclude this demo with this insight. GenAI accelerates user story creation while ensuring consistency and completeness. And if you want to play around yourself with this tool, we have this demo live in the exhibition area. We have a couple of people assisting in presenting this tool in there. And you would be able to write whatever user stories that you want or ask any questions to the virtual assistant. And now we proceed with the second tool that we have called AIGC, AI Generated Content Detector. Okay. So the problem here came from Accenture marketing operations. Due to these new technologies in generative AI, there was the risk that there could be a bad use of generated images in official Accenture publications, and because of that, there were new policies that were enforced, and a change and a new way of reviewing these publications before actually making them public, right? So this process now requires people to manually review the documents, looking at the images to see if they could have been generated or not, and if they are generated, then check if they are following the policies. So they were asking us if would it be possible to at least semi-automate the process of identifying or having some sort of alert system that is telling you that these images in these documents have either strong evidence or the risk of having been generated. So our solution, well, we started exploring what could be different techniques and approaches for detecting if an image is generated or not, and we found these different types of approaches. Okay, so our tool is composed by a number of checkers or experts, and each one of these experts is looking at at the problem from a different angle. Like we have binary classifiers that are traditional machine learning models They have been trained on images that are generated and non-generated images in order to try to figure out what tells them apart. Okay, what is the difference between a generated and a non-generated image? And they will give you a percentage of these looks generated at 90% or 80%, etc. Then following kind of the same approach, we have multi-class classifiers that have not just been trained on generated or non-generated, but on images generated by specific tools. So they can even tell you this looks generated and on top of that generated by DALL-E or generated by Stable Diffusion, etc. Also, typically when you use a service for generating images, that tool is going to inject a signature in the metadata of the image. Like if you are using DALL-E, there is something in the image metadata saying created with DALL-E. So that's a clear evidence that the image has been generated. So we have also implemented a number of metadata inspectors that are capable of finding the signatures of a wide range of GenAI models. It's just that this metadata can be removed, so it's not enough with just detecting the metadata. And for instance, when you upload images to Facebook or social networks in general, this automated process is going to remove the metadata just to make the images smaller. Okay, so they don't take so much space in the cloud. Then we have what we call semantic analyzers, which are simply other GenAI models that can understand images. Okay, so we give the image to a GenAI model. At the time, I think it was GPT-4o. And we are asking a number of questions about the image. Okay, we are instructing the model. These could be different signs that could indicate that the image is generated. Can you look into this and then make a final decision? And finally, we also have image source finders. So these tools are like a Google search, but for images. We are going to try to locate the image, if possible, in the internet. To try to use the context of the source. Like, for instance, if the image was a photograph from a newspaper, it could look like it's not generated, right? It comes from a reputable source. Or perhaps the image came from a web page that is precisely talking about generative AI and is giving you this image as an example of generated image. But as you can imagine, this is like in a trial where you have a jury and different people may say yes, guilty or non-guilty, and there could be certain contradictions. And at some point you need to have a judge, which in this case would be this other component to the right of the slide, the arbiter, that is ingesting the reports of all the different experts and taking into account what are the strengths and weaknesses of the different experts and what did they say about the image, is going to make a final decision. And it's going to create a summary, okay? It's going to tell you yes, no, generated, non-generated, and because of this, and this is the evidence that I have used in order to make this final decision. So this is how the tool looks like. You have here a list of checkers that by default they are enabled. Well, you see that there are a few checkers for also detecting text images, though the demo that you will see in the exhibition space is focused on images alone. Okay, then in this tool, you can upload one or more images that are to be reviewed. Okay, like for instance, this one, then you click on the button, and one by one, the different checkers are going to be applied. And once you have the outputs of all the different experts, there will be the arbiter analyzing all the outputs and making a final decision. Okay, let's speed up a little bit the video. And this is the output given by the arbiter. Okay, it appears to be AI generated. The image in question shows a highly detailed and realistic depiction of an anthropomorphic animal dressed in human clothing, etc., etc. So here it's reasoning, and then in this table that you have below, you have the outputs of the different checkers, and you can see that they are not all saying yes or no, and the final decision is not as simple as saying, well, looks like most of the checkers said yes, or there is a higher number of experts, you also need to take into account what are the strengths and weaknesses of the different checkers. And also, if you wanted, you could also look at the outputs of each one of the individual experts, though this is not very human readable. Okay, the idea is that to the human we are only providing this, but for the sake of debugging the tool and reviewing, you can see that this is the machine learning classifier giving you the probability. This is another classifier. Okay, here you have, for instance, the semantic analyzer that is giving you a text. Okay, saying regarding the texture and detail, I see the texture and detail in the image are highly realistic, etc. About anatomy and proportions, background and context. Okay, all the different aspects of the image it is looking at. And then this image finder didn't find this image in the internet, and so forth. So how are we with time? Okay, so for the demo in the exhibition space, we have also built something more fun, a quiz, where we are going to put you to the test. Well, actually, the quiz, I have it live in here. Okay, we have 4 packages of images, and you are to select the image that you want. Like, for instance, this one. And, well, I think maybe I went a little bit too fast, so why not play, okay? Which one of these 4 images do you think it's the generated one? It's only one of the images is generated. The oranges, okay. Now, from these 4 images, which one do you think it's generated? Upright, okay. Upright. It's 4 rounds. We are in round 3. Which one now? Right down. And then the final one. Which one, sorry? Left down, this one. Okay, so I have to say this was the easy image package, okay? The other ones are trickier. So here, yeah, you can see that, yes, we found all the ones that were generated, and if you wanted to see the output of our tool, you can click on this button, and you can see here whether it's generated or not, all the reasoning of the arbiter, and then the table with the outputs of each one of the experts. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. And well, I can conclude with this last remark. Technology is both the source of the challenge and the solution. Okay, so yeah, generative AI is great, and it's giving you a new power, new opportunities to do new things, but at the same time, with great power comes great responsibility and the possibility of using this in a bad way. But at the same time, we can use technology as well in order to try to at least put some remedy or some guardrails to the use of technology itself. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, I think I went quite fast, sorry. Well, we have plenty of time for questions, if there are any. Okay, I guess this, how do you manage false positives and negatives, and what's the human in the loop process here? That's for the image generation, the generated image demo, right? Okay. Well, we have to put this in perspective with respect to the different checkers. Yeah, as I mentioned, we have different approaches. Okay, let's go back here. So regarding binary classifiers and multi-class classifiers, yeah, if you have errors, you can add the properly annotations of those images into your training set and retrain those models in order to try to make them more robust for the metadata inspector, that's a rule-based system, right? There is no mistaking there. Either you find the signature of the generative tool or not. So it's not like there is going to be false positives or false negatives due to metadata. With the semantic analyzer, it's trickier because we are using an LLM and you are not training that, right? You are consuming an OpenAI model in this case, or perhaps also a Bedrock model. There are Amazon models that can also understand images. And you are programming them like a human, right? You are not writing some code. You are simply explaining in English, this is what I want you to do, and this is the process, and these are the things that you need to be careful about. So potentially the only thing that you could do in here is to try to refine your prompt to see if with, I don't know, with a more robust prompt, perhaps it's not going to be fooled. And well, again, the image source finder, either it finds the image in the internet or does not. So I guess for false positives or negatives, yes, you can refine the binary classifiers and multi-class classifiers. And that's it. On top of that, you have the arbiter, that is also another model that is going to make the final decision, and that way is going to be a more robust system. So hopefully, using this group of experts, you are going to have a better chance of properly detecting if the image is not generated or not. And also, I have to say that this is an open architecture, and also it's an open problem, right? Like in security, you will always have hackers that are trying to figure out new ways of finding exploits and breaking your system, and you have the security experts that are, as these vulnerabilities are found, they try to patch the systems in order to be robust against those kind of attacks, but it's a constant fight. So in here, you are also going to have the same situation. As the models get better and better, there will be images that start fooling the system, and you will need to either make the current experts more robust or add other experts that are going to be able to cover new techniques for image generation so that you can keep the system up to date, basically. Okay. Any other questions? Is the tool able to detect? So is the tool able to also detect partly generated images with AI failures or change modified backgrounds? At the moment, the tool is ingesting the image as a whole. Okay, we don't have something that is trying to partition the image, like trying to figure out if there is a region that is generated or not generated. So. But also take into account that this is, the goal was to let Accenture marketing operations know if an image is generated or not. So I guess that ideally, even if the image was just partially generated but had some real parts, we would want to flag that the image is generated. But yeah, we haven't tested the tool with partially generated images. But yeah, if there was an application to this, we could look into this as well. So my opinion about Sora. Honestly, I haven't played much with Sora, but that's a video generation tool, right? This tool is focused on image. We haven't played with video so far, but yeah, I remember some generated video of a cup of coffee with ships sailing on the coffee like if it was the sea, and it was quite impressive. But also I can imagine that processing video is going to be much more expensive than images. Okay, so was the story generator the base for GenWizard tool in Accenture? No, these were two separated works. Okay, this tool that we have created came from one particular client with this question. As I mentioned, in 2 weeks, we created a first prototype just to let them see if they could get something that was kind of exactly what he was looking for, right? And from the feedback that we got from them, we continued improving the tool and adding the features that they were requiring. So we had a version of the tool deployed in the cloud that they were continuously testing, and we had 1 week sprints, and every Friday we would catch up with the client again to discuss about the next features or potential problems that the tool was having. But yeah, now we are interested in selling the tool to more clients. So if you're interested in this, please come to the exhibition space. We can show you the tool, and we can put you in contact with our marketing lead for further discussion if you would like to use this in the future. So it's the first software accessible for the public to try out. Not yet, but again, as I mentioned, well, it's available today in the exhibition area. Okay. But yeah, if you are interested, yeah, we can discuss and we can make something out, something available for one particular person. But also take into account that there is a cost to use the tool. So I don't think we would be opening this to the wide public, right? We can open it to limited people for testing. But yeah, I mean, there is a cost of maintenance of the tool, and we cannot simply give it for free. Okay, so did you also try to focus on deepfake videos? No, as I mentioned before, the focus was on image and a little bit on generated text as well. We didn't try videos yet. Okay, can we use the system for the fake detection to generate a fake that is not recognized to be a fake? Wait, let me process this a moment. Can we, for a fake that is not recognized? Well, okay, well, okay, I understand, right? So yeah, the tool does not do generation, but yeah, potentially, if you were somebody creating generative models and your goal was to do something that was so good that no tool could detect it, yeah, sure, you could use this tool as a test, right? Try to improve your generation process as much as possible and test with this detection tool to see if systematically you are fooling the tool or not. I guess, yeah, that could be an application. But as I mentioned during the presentation, it's a constant fight, right? You try to make something that is better and better and better and is fooling the detection tools. And then the people that are creating the detection tools, they make them better in order to detect your system and so forth. A constant fight. So what are the most important use cases for detecting if image is generated or not? We focused on Accenture marketing operations. Right, we haven't worked with any other client yet to see what they would be interested in, but I guess there is here a common concern, right? If you are to, because these tools are everywhere, anybody can go to ChatGPT, and even the free version already allows you to generate a number of images per day. So there is always going to be the risk instead of even if you are paying your people to do the work manually and to make sure that they provide a human touch, there is always this temptation that I don't have time, I need to deliver this quickly. And I just go to ChatGPT and I will ask to do something for me and I inject it. But yeah, there are certain risks and we need to make sure that people are following the policies. So I guess that in general that could be the use case. Okay, what are risks of ground classifications? Okay, that's a good one. There is always a risk for these automated systems to fail, of course, and you need the human touch. But as I said, you can be more conservative and less conservative with these kind of systems. You could think of at some point I will want to review the images. But at least if I have a tool that can tell me 100% this is generated, I don't need to spend my time looking hard at the image. Okay, the system is already telling me this image for sure is generated. So it goes straight into the pipeline for verifying if it's generated or not. I mean, to be reviewed by a human, I mean. So to some extent, it's already saving you some time. But I guess The idea, I mean, from my point of view, the idea with machine learning is not to fully replace the human, but optimize the processes, taking into account that it's always a statistical process that will have an accuracy rate. So do you think that self-boarding to bank applications is endangered by these fake ID card, photos, and selfies? Of course. Of course. Well, I guess we have all seen so far so many generated images and videos and fake news, and TikTok, for instance, is full of videos of presidents saying things that they didn't say in real life. And now when we are talking about money, right? Yeah, I remember time ago before generative AI, I created an N26 bank account, and I didn't have to go to any physical office. It was just a mobile phone call, just with my camera on. And then the person there was asking me a number of things, was asking me to repeat certain sentences to make sure that it was me and not a pre-recorded video. But nowadays, you could on the fly create a video, right, of yourself saying whatever you want. And actually, we have done that. Okay, we have another demo that I didn't present today, where you can create a digital version of yourself just by using some video recordings of yourself and your voice. Then you can have a system where you send an arbitrary text, and there is a video on the fly of yourself saying whatever says in the text with your own voice. So, yeah, nowadays this is a big risk indeed. Okay, and then last question. Are there plans for integration of the story generator tool to work with the summary of meetings from Copilot and generate stories already from the meeting? Well, this is more or less what I have presented, right? It's just that I started with my dirty notes in a Word document. Okay, so I was saying I'm in a meeting, have my laptop open, and so I'm discussing, I'm taking here my notes, and then I'm manually copy-pasting this in another place. But of course, yeah, this could be, yeah. In this case, if I'm in a Teams meeting and I have enabled the recording of the meeting, and I can ask Copilot to give me the transcript of the meeting, yeah, sure, it could be integrated in a way that you don't have to manually copy-paste. But we have recently started working with this tool and collaborating with clients, so we are open to any potential integration or new feature that could help sell this tool. So please, if you are interested in this, come to the exhibition space and let's have a discussion. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Well, I guess if that's it, we can leave it here, and we have 3 minutes left. Okay, thank you.